to this video about this exercise notebook, and I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's get some Xcode up and running, and let's just create our project here. Our project, as I mentioned, will be in Xcode, and it's a Swift project. So let's start by creating a new project here, and then we're going to choose which kind of project we want to create. Here we have the different kind of Mac OS, Watch OS, TV OS, driver kit and other. But let's choose iOS because that's what we're going to make today. So for the product name, I'll choose to call it Diary. Since it's a notebook type of style we're going to make, we're going to save it to the local store, and then we're going to add on functionality that will eventually evolve to a Firestore database. So, and maybe also we can create this for an Android phone as well, so that we welcome any platform almost. So for this project name, we have a diary. We have Simon Beckman, that's my team, that's my developer account. We have the .com.org, that's our organization identifier, it's reversed. We also have the interface, that should be Swift UI. We have the language, it's also Swift. And you can also see here you have the storyboard, but we're going to use Swift UI in the interface. And for this part, I'm just going to unclick the host in iCloud Kit, in the Cloud Kit, because that's the framework or the database system for hosting in Apple's databases. But we're just going to use the core data, which is the local storage for the phone. And here we're not going to include test since we're not going to make any. And you can see here that's part of the test framework. So let's just continue here by hitting next, and then let's go to the documents here and create a new folder. Let's call it our diary name. So we're gonna create the folder, and then we're gonna place the project in here, and potentially other files that could come up and be useful. Now we have created the diary project here. I'm going to move into this view where you also can see me. So hello, and let's start here by viewing the content view. And this is the first page that we are going to have here, and that's a default page initialized. When we click the core data, we're going to get this, and we also the content view, and we're going to have the persistence, which is needed for sending the data to the local storage. And we also have here a database file. I can't remember the format, but this is the diary database. So it's for now we have only an item, and we have the timestamp here, and we also have the app delegate here, or the diary app. That's our main class, and that's used for running the app and just also letting in here. It can see here you get the persistence controller class, which calls the view context, the container with the view context. So here we also ensure that the data is passed on from the different persistent layers down in the app, so it can be passed throughout the app. As you so I think we should try to give it a run. So I'm just gonna run it here. I'm not gonna run it. I'm just gonna run it on the Mac itself. So because I'm recording with my phone, so let's just run it here at the simulator tool that is built together with the Xcode. So see if we can get this. Just pause it again. Okay, and then we're going to run it once more, and hopefully we'll get something here. So here we should get the plus and the edit. So this is what you get when you initialize the first app. We get a possibility of, or we get this timestamp app that just creates some timestamps each time we hit the plus button, and then we edit, or we get the option to edit here, so we can remove the list here. So that's a list and this is and then we can say done here. So that's a basic functionality. So what we're going to do is we are going to remove all this, and then we're going to set it up ourselves. So let's just give it a clean slate here, and then just also get it a clean slate here. So for this, yeah. So and then we are we're just going to also give it a clean slate here. So let's just do this. And okay, so first of all, we need to import the libraries here. So we are going to import the Swift UI here. We're going to start out with the content view, because that's where we're going to handle the content, and that's the visuals. So we start with the struct, the data type, the struct, and then we're going to create the content view, and then we're going to make these parentheses. And in this content view, we want some kind of view, and what also needs to be in a view in order to adhere with the view protocol is that we have to say that this is a view. So after creating the struct, which is this kind of class, and then we have the content view, and then we have the view here. So now we get an error here saying that content view does not conform to protocol view. That's where we need the var body here. So that's some view, and then we have to make the scope it in here again. So that's our body here. That needs to be our view. So first of all, we're going to make we're going to make a VStack here. So when we are developing for iOS, we have these VStacks, we have the Z stacks, and we have the H stacks, and I can't remember if there's any more else. So for the VStack, this is our vertical stack, and so that's going down. So let's just have a VStack here, and then let's just give it. So the VStack here says that we're going to have the vertical line. So in this VStack, we want to have a list, and in this list, we want to view our nodes. So this is so our nodes, they will be displayed like it was here in the other time steps. So here we can see that when we initialize the list, it will like us to get us some kind of content here. So we want some data, and we want some row content here. What we also can do is we can say a for each here. So that gives us the same option almost. So that will display if we give it here a list of diary nodes. So let's just create here what we need in order to create these diaries. We need to create a model. So the model is going to be nodes here, and this node is going to be a struct also, like previous struct type, and then we're going to call it node, and then we're going to make it codable, so it has to conform with the codable let's just see here, codable protocol, and then we're going to make give it a var of called ID of the string type. Yes, and then we're going to give it a var of the let's just give here ID of the of content. So that's also going to be string. That's where we're going to write the nodes, and then we're going to have a var of the var contents, and then we're gonna have to have a var of date, and we're going to give it the date, and then we're going to have a var that's an our image. So that's going to be of the image type here. So I think this should be here. I think we're going to call this UI image instead. I think that's, and we have to import the so in order to have this, we need to import the UI kit, and then we can save it as an image, and we also have to so we're just going to remove this for now, the codable. No, sorry, it's the identifiable we need here. So that's our that's used together with the string ID, and for the sake of probably making a good ID, we're going to make the UID. So now we created the struct for node. So what we're going to do here now is we will go into the persistence, and actually this on the database, this you can also, instead of what we just did, we can also go to the local storage or the database, and we can also set up the nodes in here. So actually we can say nodes here, and then we can say that it has to have a timestamp here, that's date, or you can just call it date like we did, but maybe it's better to use the timestamp. And then we're going to make the content here, so that's our string, and then we're going to make the ID, which is also our string here, UID, and then we're going to make the image here, and that has to be binary data. Right. So actually here we have what should correspond to that, and when you go out here in the side pane here, you can actually you can tell it here that it has to be you can say here for nodes here, you can highlight that, and then you can go to the say it should be the class definitions, or you can say it's a category extensions. So actually if we run this, I'm not sure, but yeah, so this is, so we're gonna keep it for now this way, and in order to save it also we're gonna have it both, but I assume we will need to remove this, but let's just keep it here. So what we now are going to do is we're going to have some kind of communication with the persistence, and for the persistence I think we will we'll try to just put this in again, what it already gave us here. So from the standard layout in Xcode, we will use the code here, and what we need to focus on here is that we need to be sure that we have named the items here. So to be sure that we have it correct here, we'll say new node, and then we'll call the node here, and then we will say we also have to change this, so new node, and timestamp we'll keep, so we'll just have to add the other here, so content and image. So let's just review here. So content ID, let's just here ID and image. So the ID, it's a UID here, and the image is going to be image, I think, assume, or UI image. Okay, so I think this should be, and we're just gonna import the UI kit here to ensure that we keep up with the image, and context with content. So let's just see here, it's kind of good to expect type of string. what do we do? What happens if we change this? Well, that should. So the context kind of convert the value to type string. Right. So I think that's because our node that just consists of the context. So perhaps we'll need to actually call this. So I think maybe we could call it here, and then we could say this just for the sake of the ease of it. So in some way, I think we just make this dummy here. So hopefully this will this is not recognized. So I think we should make an initializer here. So saying that so we need to find out here. So okay, I'm actually a little bit down in this one. So let's go and look to the definition here. So the context comes from the view context here, result container, and in memory is true. So what could we say about this? Well, we got the view context, and this came from the notes here. So what happens if we remove this, and then we say that does this then allow us to give us the so can I find node in scope? Okay, so this was actually good. Okay, so no, so we need to perhaps I need also to rename this, and then we should go and see if this runs. What happens if we run this one? So the build fails. Okay, so I think perhaps this is we need to also to move this. So node cannot be found in the scope. So we need to get this back. And yes, so in order to view this, so let's just see some quick help here. So this comes from manage object, and then you can go into the developer section here, and then you can see that perhaps we need to conform to keep this with the our so let's just see node here. What happens if we call this one here? So because I think that could solve our issues if we keep the database there, and then we call, and then we try to remove this again, and let's just see if this will let us get anywhere. Okay, no, it will not. So let's keep this, and let's go here again, and then let's just see if this one. So let's let this also be NS object. I think that could help us a bit. So here we have an ambiguous call. So I think we have to remove. We should actually remove our node class here, and then try to use this instead. That's what came from our database. And let's just see if the persistence. So we try to clean the build folder here that you can always perform when you're trying to get. Okay, so now I think we get better here. So so now it seems to work. So that was an issue of us calling the model. So instead here we should actually this is our content. So let's call that a string instead. So we need to not make the we just need to keep the model in the database layer. So here we perhaps need to call this, and we also need to make the parentheses. So I think for this example now we have the now we are moving on to the content view. So what we got now is that we made the persistence. Let's just see. Well, let's use data instead. I think that corresponds with the database layer, because this is UI image is not recognized by the database as a type, but it's the data instead here. So yes. And do we have any other here that needs to be considered iterations? No. So this looks fine. Let's just see here the content view that we will. So what we need to call the our environment object. So this is environment object here. This is it's a var, and it's our it's a var of nodes, and then it should be equal to persistence. Okay, so nodes here. So I think this is the way it should be called here. So let me just, for clarity, just get some assistance here from the pre-made class that was here already, the default class, so default implementation here. So it's an environment, okay, of managed object private var view context. Okay, that you can do it instead. So this is for fetching the object, and here you set the request to fetch this. And this also the sorted here. Somehow it implements some sorting on this, and then we get the node here. So we should replace this with node, and then you can take the timestamp and order on that. So we get the first timestamp at the first, as I assume is sending through, or the last one. Anyhow, this is not important. So let's just take the node here. So it fetches these into the items, the nodes into the items, and then it presents the items here. And also it has the button here for the add item. Okay, so add. So we can replace that with add node and node add, and then we can get the node here. So to stay and this is so. Perhaps this is all we need for the app to run, and let's go to the diary app. So let's see here, we get the content view back, and then we run the app. So here we have the node, and now we just have what we had in the beginning. So we need to somehow so we want to add some node content to this. So we have the body view here. So what is a good idea here is actually to that we create a new file here called the node details view. So that gets us the details of the node. So we fetch the nodes. So I'm just going to pause the video for now, and then return in the next episode.